It may have started with health food nuts and probiotic yogurts, but now from happy coffee and vinegar cocktails to Shark Tank supplements and keto diets, it seems that gut health products aren't all the rage. But a focus on the intestinal tract is far more important than just fodder for the vegan internet forums and your mom's home marketing friends. No, this is a real revolution in medical science. Poop. Or to be more wordy, the human microbial ecosystem. As Professor Julian Davies from the University of British Columbia puts it, we are only 10% human, and the rest of us is microbes. In the gut, microbes extract nutrients from food. They synthesize vitamins, fight off infection, and reduce inflammation. We're always looking for our next big cure, but we may already be on the verge of one of the largest medical discoveries of all, the human microbiome. So allow me to thoroughly discuss all of you today while I drop some knowledge on the human microbes. Today I will first be pushing around some knowledge about the gut before then doing a knowledge dump on the breakthroughs that have created all of this excitement, and then finally flushing out the amazing future potential in this field. The human gastrointestinal tract is home to one of the most rich, dense, and diverse microbial ecosystems in the human body. We've always known there was something going on down there. The Romans had Sterquilinus, god of feces and digestion. The Japanese had Haniyasu, who is still commonly found on or under toilets to help things along. Meanwhile, the Aztecs quite literally worshipped poop, including believing that gold and silver were just the good bowel movements of their gods. According to the March 2019 edition of the Human Microbiome Journal, next-generation DNA testing has helped us to identify over 1,000 new gut species. This invisible world of ours is starting to come into focus, and we are about to learn a lot. From antibacterial soaps, germ-fighting supplements, and even hand sanitizer, many of us believe that all bacteria are just tiny little organisms that give us horrible diseases. That is, in fact, not the case. Even the healthiest among us have far more bacterial cells than human ones. That population of microbes is established at the very beginning of life and remains as unique as a fingerprint. Science now knows that the wrong balance of bugs in the gut can lead to all sorts of distress, discomfort, and disease. This recognition has led to some incredible discoveries and advancements, and medical professionals are turning to some, let's call them creative, ways to right the balance. There have always been stories of weird and unexplained things happening in the belly and in Texas. Take, for example, the story of a 60-year-old Texas man who stumbled into an emergency room complaining of dizziness with a blood alcohol concentration of 0.37%. That is a lot. But there was just one hitch. The man had not touched a drop of alcohol all day. Dr. Justin McCarthy was able to find that the man's problem was an overabundance of brewer's yeast bacteria. Basically, his intestinal tract was acting like his own internal brewery. And while the worst he suffered were some food hangovers, there are very serious implications when it comes to microbiome imbalance, giving us horrible diseases or even killing us. Take, for example, C. diff, or Clostridium difficile, which is described by a Wired article as a devastating, diarrhea-causing disease. It's a side effect of other medical treatments. It occurs when a patient takes antibiotics that wipe out the multiplicity of bacteria in the belly. This makes things worse, sometimes much worse. The FDA reports that C. diff infections occur more than 500,000 times a year in the US, leading to some 30,000 deaths and leaving survivors homebound and permanently ill. The solution? A fecal transplant. Yes, that is exactly what it sounds like. Taking actual feces produced by a healthy person and putting them into the digestive system of a sick person. Now, I know, that is absolutely disgusting, but before you poo-poo this idea. Hear me out. These transplants have an incredibly high success rate. Over 90% of C. diff cases are cured with just a single application, a far higher rate than for most antibiotics. Today, Microbiome, a fecal matter cleansing facility, says that it has donated material for over 48,000 transplants so far. The impact of this expanded research shows that focusing on our own microbiome may solve a host of gastrointestinal issues and has potential that stem cells, drugs, and surgery may only dream of. In fact, the future applications might make all of today's advancements seem quaint. Take, for example, Dr. Colleen Kelly, one of the first doctors to provide fecal transplants. One of her patients also suffered from alopecia universalis, a condition previously thought to be incurable. Basically, the patient had not been able to grow any hair since they were 16. But when they got a stool fecal transplant from their sister, they began to grow hair back. And the bigger shock is, this is a common result. So there may be some hope for my poor dear father. Emerging evidence suggests that many of the illnesses that plague us today, including but not limited to asthma, diabetes, allergies, Alzheimer's, and even cancer, may be linked to the millions of bacteria living inside of us. One of the more obvious links is that between gut bacteria and obesity. A study done in a November 24th Medical News Today article found that obese people and thin people have entirely different microbial populations in their bodies. Taking the bacteria of someone traditionally thin and transplanting it into someone overweight could help balance both sides of that energy balance equation, which would help with our metabolism and influence our desire to exercise and be mobile for the better. Another link is that between bacteria and humanity's #1 killer, heart disease. A study done in the August 2018 National Institute of Health found that when bacteria is in the digestive tracts, it metabolizes a compound called carnitine. Carnitine, in turn, makes a byproduct. That byproduct, in turn, gives us heart disease. The article continues, our gut microbiome are functioning as hormones. We just have to work out what language that bacteria are speaking and teach the microbiome to treat heart disease instead of causing it. The fecal microbiome represents the future of medicine, one in which our own microbiota may be manipulated to cure or even stop diseases. So today, we have pushed through our body's crudest waste product, one that teems with literally millions of bacteria, many of which are still barely known to science. We have dumped on a current world of fecal transplants and discussed a future world where we have mastered techniques to solve some of life's biggest challenges. There is still a powerful ick factor associated with talking about human feces, but for many doctors and many patients, getting over that crap cannot come fast enough.